enjoy the journey, not the destination. A lot of us delay our happiness. When I get to this level, when I get my degree, when I get the kids, when I get married, I'm going to be happy. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the whole step, the whole process. Every day that you get up to strive for whatever it is you're after. You know, I'm a goal-oriented guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you don't celebrate when you get to the finish line. Celebrate all along the way. Celebrate all along the way.
The sign of success is the hate that you get along the way. And I promise you, every single person who wants to do something with their life and has done something with their life has gone through the exact chapter that you're going through.
I'd say focus on signal over noise.
And it says that between where you are today and where you want to be sometime in the future, a goal, is there is always one constraint or choke point that determines the speed at which you get from here to here. That's the constraint. So the art of life is to identify the constraints that are holding you back from achieving the goal that you want to achieve. And it could be something simple like finding a parking space. It could be something simple like getting your shopping done and so on. Continually ask, what is the constraint or limiting factor is what they call it, the limiting factor between here and where you want to go. So you say to yourself, all right, you want to achieve a particular goal. So you ask yourself, what is the one factor that determines the speed at which you achieve that goal? What is the one factor that determines the speed at which you achieve your most important goal?
And it's amazing how, even though you can show that something works on paper, and the calculations are very clear, until you actually have the physical object and they can drive it, it doesn't really sink in for people. That it's good to think in terms of the physics approach of first principles, which is, rather than reasoning by analogy, you boil things down to the most fundamental truths you can imagine and you reason up from there. And this is a good way to figure out if something really makes sense or if it's just what everybody else is doing. I mean, you need to work super hard, 7 days a week, all the time. So what does super hard mean? Well, when my brother and I were starting our first company, instead of getting an apartment, we just rented a small office and we slept on the couch. We're so hard up, we had just one computer, so the website was up during the day and I was coding at night.
I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life and no idea how college was going to help me figure it out. And here I was, spending all the money my parents had saved their entire life. So I decided to drop out and trust that it would all work out okay. It was pretty scary at the time, but looking back, it was one of the best decisions I ever made. I could stop taking the required classes that didn't interest me and begin dropping in on the ones that looked far more interesting. It wasn't all romantic. I didn't have a dorm room, so I slept on the floor in friends' rooms. I returned Coke bottles for the 5-cent deposits to buy food with. And I would walk the 7 miles across town every Sunday night to get one good meal a week at the Hare Krishna temple. I loved it. And much of what I stumbled into by following my curiosity and intuition turned out to be priceless later on. Let me give you one example. Reed College at that time offered perhaps the best calligraphy instruction in the country. Throughout the campus, every poster, every label on every drawer was beautifully hand calligraphed. Because I had dropped out and didn't have to take the normal classes, I decided to take a calligraphy class to learn how to do this. I learned about serif and sans serif typefaces, about varying the amount of space between different letter combinations, about what makes great typography great. It was beautiful, historical, artistically subtle in a way that science can't capture, and I found it fascinating. None of this had even a hope of any practical application in my life. But 10 years later, when we were designing the first Macintosh computer, it all came back to me. And we designed it all into the Mac. It was the first computer with beautiful typography. If I had never dropped in on that single course in college, the Mac would have never had multiple typefaces or proportionally spaced fonts. And since Windows just copied the Mac, it's likely that no personal computer would have them. Of course, it was impossible to connect the dots looking forward when I was in college, but it was very, very clear looking backwards 10 years later. Again, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. Because believing that the dots will connect down the road will give you the confidence to follow your heart, even when it leads you off the well-worn path. And that will make all the difference. Sometimes life's going to hit you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith.
This isn't for the masses. This is for those who want to leave normal behind. Those who are in search of a new realm. It's a lonely journey. You're isolated. Those who used to keep pace with you will fall off. They'll see where their world ends and yours begins. Your ability to suffer, endure, outwork must be greater. You must be willing to extend yourself to the limit with no guarantee of success. Every day, you must ask yourself, did I do enough?
What I've learned is to always keep going. Always. And I've come to find out is that, no matter what happens, the storm eventually ends. And when the storm does end, you want to make sure that you're ready. And so I've really learned to put one foot in front of the other, good, bad, or indifferent, because eventually that storm passes.
Those times when you get up early and you work hard, those times when you stay up late and you work hard, those times when you don't feel like working, you're too tired, you don't want to push yourself, but you do it anyway. That is actually the dream. That's the dream. It's not the destination, it's the journey. And if you guys can understand that, then what you'll see happen is that you won't accomplish your dreams. Your dreams won't come true. Something greater will.
Let me share with you the most difficult thing that I've ever done in my life. And that was to believe that I could do it. That's the most difficult thing that I've ever done in my entire life. To believe that I, Les Brown, who was born in an abandoned building on a floor in a poor section of Miami, Florida, with a twin brother. We were adopted. We were 6 weeks of age by Mrs. Mamie Brown, and I called myself Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. All that I am and all that I ever hope to be, I owe to my mother. I saw a sign once that said, God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. To believe that I, Les Brown, who was labeled educable mental retarded, put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade, failed again when I was in the 8th grade, to believe that I had the ability to live the life that I'm now living. No one could have told anybody who knew me, including myself, looking in on us when Mrs. Mamie Brown was raising us in a poor section of Miami, Florida called Liberty City in Overtown, that I would be who I am right now. I didn't even know that. And I want you to think about your goals and dreams, and I want you to expand them. Why? Because it has been said that most people fail in life not because they aim too high and miss. No, most people fail in life because they're just like I was for 14 years. They aim too low and hit, and many never aim at all. Not at all. They just go through life surviving. So I remember at a period of my life I was going to work, and I was working on a job that I hated. And at the same time, I was praying that I wouldn't get fired. I was praying that I wasn't laid off. I was miserable. Nobody was holding a gun to my head, but I showed up every day, and I used a flimsy excuse. Well, I got to pay the bills. I've got a car payment I have to pay. I have a family. I have children. I have a car note, and I have a mortgage note I have to pay. I've got to survive. I was showing up for a paycheck. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not living. And a friend of mine said, you know when people change? And I said, no. He said, when they get to the point when they say, I've had it. I've had it. I think the only reason that you're listening to me right now, that there's somewhere in your heart of hearts, if you said, as you looked at your life, you said, I've had it. And not only have you said, I've had it, but you said also in your heart of hearts, I can do better than this. And let me share something with you. You can. Because if anybody told me, and I'm going to share some things with you that I've done, not for the purpose to impress you, but to impress upon you what the possibilities are when you work on your mind and have mindset development. Because I've found that how people live their lives is a result of their state of mind. It has been said, you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are.
Don't let anything hold you back. Imagination is the limit. Go out there and create some magic.
You are battered, broken, and depleted. Some of you have been abandoned.
Your greatest opponent is an enemy you cannot see, but you can feel. You can feel that abandonment. You can feel that agony, that anguish. You can feel that anger. You can feel the confusion. You can feel the laziness, the deceitfulness, the depression. You can feel the garbage of guilt and fear. You can feel the dysfunction. You can feel it. That is the enemy, the battle, the fight for the future, the fight to rise. Is in your head. It's all in your head.
Winners win and losers fucking lose. At the end of the day, winners are gonna fucking win and losers are gonna fucking lose, no matter what. Henry David Thoreau has this quote that I just love this quote, okay? Most men lead lives of quiet desperation. Quiet desperation. You know what that means? It means on the inside, they ache, they groan, and they are filled with dissatisfaction and anger and frustration. And I agree with that. I think if we're all honest, we can relate to that. Okay? I think it's pathetic to live passively. I think it's pathetic to think that the world owes you something. I think that it's pathetic to think that you do things just because you're expected to do things based upon the system that you were brought up in over the course of your life.
Now is the moment to capture the vision. Let me tell you something. Here's what success is all about. You need these three things. Are you ready? You need skill set, mindset, and opportunity. Skill set, mindset, and opportunity. You need to rise up and understand what success is all about. Skill set, work on your skill. Mindset, work on your mentality, baby, and your opportunity will come. Trust me. When your opportunity comes, you better be ready. When your opportunity hits, you better respond, baby. And all the work you put in, all the grind you put in, when your opportunity shows up, you gonna be ready. Because hard work pays. Let me tell you something. Hard work will pay off.
When you feel that you don't have the oxygen, when you feel like you're about to give up, when you feel like you're about to die, resurrect yourself and just rise.
These people are miserable because they think that they are victims. They're victims of hard times. They're victims of bad luck. They're victims of people in their lives or whatever else they say. If you aren't waking up with goals, if you aren't taking life by the balls, if you aren't committed to acting and growing and becoming better and improving and pushing the fucking envelope to the limits, you will never be satisfied. You will never be happy. And successful people know this. They believe this. This is what drives them. They trust the work, not just to get the results, but to feel good about themselves. It's not about the money. It's not about the cars. It's not about the fucking financial success. It's not about the notoriety. It's about what the fuck you feel like on the inside. And it's impossible. Impossible.
Motivation is kind of a strange word because it doesn't really mean what we think it means. We think it means that we're fired up to do something. We think that it means we're eager and passionate to make something happen. And we think that somehow we should just be able to turn on that eagerness and turn on that passion. But we can't. You just can't turn on passion. You can't just turn on the desire to execute a task. It just doesn't work that way. And honestly, that isn't even what motivate means. Motivate doesn't mean to yell and scream and encourage. No, to motivate actually means to provide a motive, a reason why.
You matter. There's a reason. I want to make sure you understand the reason. The reason why you matter is because you'll never have, you'll never be, you'll never do. You are powerful beyond measure. Your daddy wasn't in your life. Your mother wasn't in your life. I don't know. You didn't have a mentor. I don't know. But you may have never heard someone look you in your eyes, look you in your soul, and tell you that you not only matter, you're powerful. I want you to take your life to a whole new level. I want you not only to understand you matter, I want you to go in that mirror and say, I matter. You can't activate life. You can't begin to experience life in the way you want to experience. You can't have it. You can't be it. You can't do it until you activate it.
So to motivate someone is to explain to them why they're doing what they're doing, how it will help them, where it'll take them, why they should continue to work and to struggle and to fight. And when you need motivation yourself, don't look for someone to scream and yell. Don't look for someone else to give you motivation. Look at yourself. Look at yourself and remind yourself why you are doing what you are doing. Remind yourself that this struggle, this temporary pain, this fight that you're in, this is what will make you stronger.
It's all in there. All your gifts, all your talents, everything you need to do to be what you've been called to do. What you've been birthed to do, you can't do until you activate, until you recognize you matter. You're powerful beyond measure. Your greatest hater is you. Your greatest hater is you. Your greatest fear is you. And I would just encourage you to give you a shot. Like, you ain't never really gave you a shot. You know, like, you've never given you a full year. You've never given you 365 days. You've never given you 120%. And I would just say to you, love you enough. You're beautiful.
But it's not a day to be lazy. Put your lazy aside. Don't wait for someone to hand you something. Don't put it aside and say, well, I'll do it tomorrow. Well, I'm not going to do it right now. Tomorrow, I can take care of it tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow is good. I can do it tomorrow. No, you could do it now. Not tomorrow. Leave tomorrow alone. And stop letting lazy dictate your life. I don't agree with lazy. I preach it every day. If you
Hey there, welcome to my channel Dailykeymotivation 2024. Today speak, enjoy the journey, not the destination. A lot of us daily or happiness when I get to this level, when I get my degree, when I get the kids, when I get married. I am going to be happy. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the holes. Sleep the wheel process. Every day that you get up to start for whatever it is your after you know. I am goal oriented guys. But you don't celebrate when you get to the finish lines. Celebrate all along the way. Celebrate all along the way. The sign of success is the that you get along the way, and I promise you every single person who wants to do something with their life and has done something has with their life has gone thought the exact chapter that you're going thought. I say focus on one signal over